Beijing, the sprawling heart of modern China, a megacity of 21 million people, stands as a monument to human ambition and engineering. It is a metropolis of gleaming skyscrapers, imperial palaces, and 8-lane ring roads designed to project an image of power and permanence. Yet in the late summer of 2025, this symbol of control was brought to its knees by a force utterly indifferent to its grandeur. Relentless downpours, the likes of which had not been seen in decades, unleashed a deluge that overwhelmed the city's defenses, turning its streets into raging rivers and plunging its people into chaos. The crisis did not arrive as a single sudden blow, but as a slow, suffocating siege from the heavens. For days on end, an atmospheric river stalled over northern China, dumping a catastrophic amount of rain. In the mountainous northern districts of Miyun and Yanqing, the city's vast reservoirs, the bulwarks designed to protect the capital from flooding, were pushed to their breaking point. The Miyun Reservoir, Beijing's largest and most crucial source of drinking water, began to swell dangerously. Torrents of runoff from the surrounding mountains poured into it, causing the water level to rise at an alarming rate, threatening the structural integrity of the massive dam itself. Engineers faced a grim choice: continue to hold the water back and risk a catastrophic dam failure that would send an uncontrollable wall of water towards the city, or perform a controlled release, intentionally flooding downstream areas to save the densely populated urban core. The decision, though devastating for those in the path of the discharge, was unavoidable. The floodgates were opened, and a colossal volume of water surged downstream, swamping villages, agricultural fields, and rural roads in a matter of hours. While this sacrifice was being made in the countryside, the capital itself was succumbing to the deluge from within. The city's sophisticated modern drainage systems, designed for heavy but not unprecedented rainfall, failed completely. The sheer volume of water was simply too much to handle. Busy boulevards transformed into murky, fast-flowing canals. Major intersections became vast, stagnant lakes, where terrified drivers were forced to abandon their vehicles, which now bobbed aimlessly in the brown water like discarded toys. The city's vital arteries, its world-class subway system, suffered a catastrophic failure. Water cascaded down station stairwells, turning them into violent waterfalls. Ventilation shafts became conduits for the floodwaters, which poured into the tunnels below. The system, which transports over 10 million commuters daily, was forced to a standstill. Entire tunnels filled to the ceiling, submerging tracks, signals, and high-voltage electrical equipment in a corrosive slurry. The damage was immense, and officials announced that repairs would take many months, if not longer, crippling the city's transport network for the foreseeable future. With several major subway lines closed, millions of commuters faced a daily nightmare as the remaining transport options strained and then broke under the immense pressure.
On the morning of August 20th, 2025,
public services began to crack under the weight of the crisis. Power stations in flooded zones were shut down to prevent widespread electrocutions and equipment damage, plunging entire neighborhoods into darkness and silence. The city's communication networks began to falter as underground fiber optic cables were submerged, leading to intermittent mobile phone and internet service. Hospitals were forced to move critical patients and expensive equipment to higher floors, even as they braced for an influx of flood-related injuries. Schools, though closed, became ad hoc shelters with volunteers stacking books and supplies high above the rising waters. The economic impact was immediate and brutal. Beijing's glittering commercial districts were hit hard. High-end shopping centers saw their lower levels completely flooded, with escalators grotesquely transformed into waterfalls. Underground garages became enormous, dark tanks filled with hundreds of submerged cars and floating debris. In the city's financial district, the basements of gleaming office towers were inundated, destroying essential electrical systems, data servers, and archival records. For the countless, small family-run shops and restaurants at street level, the flood was an apocalypse. Their entire inventory, their life savings, was wiped out in hours. The agricultural heartland that feeds the capital was devastated. Crops were flattened and buried under a thick layer of silt. Irrigation ditches were destroyed, and livestock were swept away by the current. Fish farms and poultry sheds near the swollen rivers were simply washed away, leaving behind a deathly silence where vibrant agricultural activity once thrived. The impact was immediately felt in the city, with local food markets reporting severe shortages and sharp price hikes. The environmental damage spread with terrifying speed. The overflowing rivers carried a toxic brew of industrial runoff, untreated sewage, and agricultural chemicals through the city's water systems, creating a significant risk of disease outbreaks in the coming weeks. The city's prized green belts and parks, some of which were designed as part of China's Sponge City initiative to absorb excess rainfall, disappeared under waves of mud. On the hills surrounding the city, the saturated soil gave way, triggering landslides that blocked rural roads and destabilized slopes, creating the potential for further collapses. The economic cost is almost incalculable, with early estimates running into the tens of billions of yuan. The project of restoring the subway alone is a monumental engineering and financial challenge. The cost of repairing washed-out highways, collapsed bridges, and damaged power grids will strain government budgets for years to come. Insurance companies are bracing for a record-breaking wave of claims, while government relief funds are struggling to cope with the sheer scale of the disaster. The city's transportation network, the pride of the nation, almost completely collapsed. Expressways leading in and out of Beijing were swallowed by water, effectively cutting the capital off from surrounding regions. Rail lines buckled or vanished under mudslides, stranding cargo trains and delaying critical supplies. Beijing's two major international airports were forced to cancel thousands of flights as access roads flooded and runways came under threat from the rising water table. For the millions of residents of Beijing, the road to recovery will be long and arduous. Roads must be rebuilt, businesses reopened, and farmland painstakingly restored. But beyond the physical reconstruction lies the psychological scar. The flood of 2025 will be remembered as the event that shattered the city's illusion of invincibility. It was a brutal reminder of nature's overwhelming force and the profound vulnerability of even our most advanced urban centers in the face of a changing climate. The scars of this flood will linger long after the last puddles dry, a permanent watermark on the city's history. Thanks for watching Earth's Dark Secrets, where we expose the hidden realities behind our planet's most devastating disasters. If this investigation revealed something the mainstream media won't tell you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us uncover the stories that authorities don't want told. Hit the bell so you never miss our in-depth analysis of the disasters that reveal our planet's dark truths.